Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our first community meeting of 2025. We will wait a few more minutes for other participants to join and get started as soon as possible. Hello, everyone. If you just joined us, thanks for joining our first community meeting of 2025. We will get started shortly. All right, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Again, welcome to the Bellwether District's first community meeting of the year. My name is Mia Fioravanti. I'm on the corporate affairs team here at the Bellwether District. Before we begin, I'll share a quick reminder of how we will run Q&A. We encourage you to enter questions that you might have throughout the meeting into the Q&A function in the bottom side of your screen. And we'll be taking all questions following tonight's presentation. When we get to Q&A, if you'd like to ask your question live, please raise your virtual hand, and my colleague Corey will give you the ability to show your camera and unmute your line. We ask that you limit your questions to one per person so we can give everyone equal time. We're also going to be limiting each question and answer to 2 minutes so that we can get through as many as possible during tonight's meeting and presentation. So we'll take as many questions as we can until about 7:15 p.m. tonight. If we don't get to your question, just a reminder that we post recordings and presentations from all meetings, as well as both answered and unanswered questions to our Q&A to the website following each meeting. And last, if you'd like to hear about a particular topic in one of our remaining 2025 meetings, please contact us via the web form located at www.thebellwetherdistrict.com or enter the topic into our Q&A chat. So tonight, our team will provide an update on development, both for our industrial and innovation campuses. Our environmental remediation team will provide an update, and then I'll close us out with an update on our community and workforce development efforts. Next slide. For those of you who may be new to our meetings, I'll quickly share how our project will benefit our city and region over the next 10 to 15 years. In total, we expect a $4 billion investment in the remediation and redevelopment of the site. This investment will lead to a significant generation of tax revenue, both for the city of Philadelphia and for the Commonwealth. As you'll hear tonight, we're continuing to make investments in our local community with a particular focus on South and Southwest Philly. According to our latest economic impact study, we're projected to add thousands of direct permanent jobs and direct construction jobs over that 10 to 15 year development timeline. And we're making significant investments in on-site and off-site infrastructure, building to LEED certifiable standards, and of course, demolishing and remediating the former refinery site. Next slide. So here's a quick reminder of our phase 1 development timeline. As of last year, we completed the decommissioning and demolition of the former refinery. We're proud to say that this was accomplished ahead of schedule. Environmental remediation activities are ongoing and will continue throughout the remainder of the project. You'll hear from my colleague Blake in just a minute regarding progress on our industrial campus. We're nearly complete of the construction of our first building and expect to complete construction of our second building later this year. And on our innovation campus, earthwork is ongoing, and we expect construction to begin on our first building in 2026. And last and importantly, we're always focused on sharing information with members of the community, including through these quarterly public meetings. So with that, I'll turn things over to Blake.
Yeah, thanks, Mia, and good evening. My name's Blake Rowan, SVP of Industrial Development here at the Bellwether District. We have some exciting updates to go over tonight, and we're going to start with just a quick reminder of our overall master plan framework. So go to the next slide. So just as a quick reminder, our overall development is bifurcated by the PGW site at Passyunk, and really that anything north is our innovation campus, which represents about 250 acres, roughly anywhere between 3 and 4 million square feet of future development. And then our industrial campus is everything south of Passyunk Avenue and just north of the Platte Bridge. And that's about 750 acres. And it can represent anywhere from 9 to 10.5 million square feet based on future development. Since our last public meeting, the master plan has remained the same, and we'll continue to update everyone if there's any modifications, and certainly that will be market dependent. Next slide. So over the last quarter, we've had tremendous amount of progress on the industrial campus. We've got, as Mia had mentioned, we're nearing the completion of the first building, and we'll show some great aerial photos here shortly. We've commenced the construction of our second building, and we've completed our phase 1 of mass earthwork. So if you go to the next slide. This year, we're really going to be focusing on completing the phase 2 of mass earthwork on the industrial campus. That represents everything that you see in tan on the image to the right. The goal is by the end of the year, everything on the industrial campus will be completed from a mass earthwork perspective. Everything will be out of the 100-year floodplain, and we'll be focusing on vertical development. Here, the next slide. So this is a vantage point from the Platte Bridge. As you can see, we have our 2 buildings going vertical. You see our Lot 9 site, which represents the ability to place about a 900 to 1 million square foot building. We have our Lot 14 site, which is fully completed and ready for vertical development. That would fit about a 1.2 million square foot building. And then just in the foreground, you can see the 2 buildings going up in the city skyline. Next slide. So this is from the vantage point looking towards the Platte Bridge, almost exactly where we were looking the other direction. Our lots 3A and 3B are complete and ready for vertical development. They represent 2 buildings that are about 680,000 square feet. And then our lot 4 is also complete and ready for vertical development. That's actually available to fit about a 1.4 million square foot building. And as you can see, just to the far northeast of the site, that is the start of our phase 2 earthwork that will be commencing in the very near term. Next slide. So I'm sure as you drive down 26th Street, you've seen quite a bit of work going on our infrastructure projects. We're very excited to announce that we're nearing completion on our phase 1 of infrastructure on site. We started paving last week, and we'll be wrapping that up over the coming weeks. On 26th Street, we have all of the subbase down, the concrete subbase, and we'll begin paving around 26th Street. And our goal is by the summer, the barricades that you see on the southbound lane will be able to be removed, and the new lane will be able to be opened up to through traffic. That's going to be subject to final approvals with PennDOT and the Streets Department, but we're nearing completion of the construction, and we're very excited about it. Next slide. Here's an aerial view of that construction. So as you see, the concrete subbase is down, and we're prepping for the asphalt placement to go. Next slide. This is our cul-de-sac at the very north end of phase 1 internal infrastructure. That'll be a turnaround for access for these two first buildings. We'll also have a private road connection as needed. In the future phases, our goal will be to connect to Frontage Avenue. Next slide. So here's a rendering, and I think some of you probably have seen it previously. This is what we're envisioning of our main entrance at 26th Street in Hartranft. This is what we believe to see in the next 5 to 7 years. If you go to the next slide, here's an aerial shot of where we're at today. So as you can see, we have the new asphalt placed for Hartranft Street. We're actively working on 26th Street. You can see the building going, and our internal intersection work is continuing on. Next slide. So this is a rendering of our phase 1 on the industrial. The first building is the 326,000 square foot building, and the second building is the 727. So in total, just over 1 million square feet. Very green, modern, and we hope to bring that to life here in the very near term. If you go to the next slide, here's our progress from a very similar vantage point here. So you can see landscaping is finally going in. We're starting to put site lighting down the main roadways, and we'll continue on over the next couple weeks. Next slide. Our vertical progress on Unit 1 has been great. We're going through final inspections over the next couple weeks. This building, if you recall, this was developed on a speculative basis. Again, it's 320,000 square foot cross-dock warehouse. We're in active discussions with potential tenants, but it is not currently leased to date. But we are eager to bring in a new tenant here in the very near term. We are working on a speculative office that's just about 5,000 square feet. So we hope to have product that's turnkey and ready to go. Next slide. So the top picture is a good aerial of just, the progress that you've seen on some of the other slides. You can tell that the building is wrapping up and nearing completion. And then a quick interior photo looking towards the main office. We're working through final cleaning and getting this building ready for delivery. Next slide. So Unit 2, again, this building's about 727,000 square feet, over twice the size of Unit 2. This building is set up to be potentially demised for a dual tenant occupancy. So we have a main entrance on both the south and the north end of the building. We commenced construction on this building in October of last year. We've been working as quickly as possible through the winter and have made tremendous progress with our design build contractor. And, we've started to place roofing. We are anticipating wrapping this building up in the early third quarter of next year. This building is also being constructed on a speculative basis. We have active conversations going on with potential tenants, and we hope to bring them to the Bellwether District in 2025. Next slide. And then this is just another aerial of just some of the progress you can see on the second building. We're very excited to be able to deliver this in the very near term. Next slide. I think I'll turn it over to the innovation team.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Amanda Mazey. I'm the Director of Mixed Use, focusing on the Innovation Campus. I'm going to take you through some of our current plans and current status of the campus. Next slide, please. So this first slide zooms in on the Innovation Campus master plan. Our site is approximately 250 acres. And we're currently planning 3 to 4 million square feet at full build out. Our campus is located just north of Passyunk Ave, south of University City and Pennovation, with direct access to 34th Street and situated directly between the Schuylkill River and I-76. You'll also hear me refer to parcel A and B. So parcel A is north of that CSX rail that bisects my site, and then parcel B is south. Next slide. So zooming in further, this is our phase 1. So this is what we're currently working on for vertical. It consists of approximately 40 acres and 3 buildings, which are together approximately 500,000 square feet. We chose this as our first phase because it's closest to the existing infrastructure. You can see it's right up against the Schuylkill Expressway and direct access to University City. These first 3 buildings are designed to accommodate biomanufacturing, processing, and production facilities along with tech-oriented uses. Right now, vertical construction is market dependent, but we are targeting Q1 2026. Next slide. So we've spent the majority of last year and this year so far focused on progressing our earthwork activities on the parcel A and B section of our site. So on parcel A, which again is north of the CSX rail, surface and subsurface demolition was complete in December 2024, as well as mass grading of last year as well. And so this year we're focused mostly on parcel B. So we commenced surface and subsurface demolition in February. We're approximately 10% complete, and we anticipate to be done by the end of the year. And that'll be both on mass grading and any surface and subsurface demolition. Next slide. This is just an overview of parcel A. So this is looking northeast, and it shows the finished condition of the mass grading. It also has an overlay of the future roads and buildings. So we have Jackson Street and Fortin Way, which are our 2 interior roads. And then it shows building A and B. Next slide. And then here's a slightly more recent image showing our surcharge area for phase A. The buildings A and B, it's looking northeast. And then again, surcharge, it's just a method to prepare our site for future vertical buildings. This slide also shows the temporary stabilization areas directly surrounding the surcharge. Next slide. And this is just another image. Again, this is looking northwest and just showing the other side of parcel A, and again, some more of our temporary stabilization areas. Next slide. And then now that we moved to parcel B, just wanted to give everyone an update on kind of what the activities are on the southern half of the Innovation Campus. So this is looking west, and this is showing, the earthwork contractor starting some subsurface, some surface demolition to date consisting of the existing private rail and some of the surface concrete structures. Next slide. And this is just one final image of parcel B, again showing the earthwork contractor starting some subsurface demolition in this area. Next slide. And then just some stats on current materials that have been removed from the site to date. So we've removed approximately 45 miles of underground pipe from parcel A, and about 7,500 linear feet of underground pipe from parcel B to date. On earthwork volumes, we've completed a movement of approximately 270,000 cubic yards of soils on parcel A, and we anticipate movement of an additional 350,000 cubic yards of soil on parcel B. For stormwater, over 1.7 million gallons of new or in progress construction stormwater capacity is being constructed. We've also recycled over 3,800 tons of metal piping from parcel A and over 160 tons of piping from parcel B to date. And in terms of concrete crushing, we've demolished approximately 80,000 tons of concrete. And we plan to reuse approximately 30,000 on site. Next slide. And then this slide is just a few examples of site-wide implementation mitigations that we're employing for dust and odor on site. So we've installed temporary stabilization, including straw, tack, and temporary seed over completed mass grading areas, which we showed in some of the initial slides that I went through. Dust control fabric has been installed on the perimeter fencing. Perimeter air monitoring is ongoing, with monthly reports being distributed via our website. Water trucks are traveling the site daily to distribute water on haul routes. And then various odor suppression methods are available to be used or suppress and minimize odor as needed. And we do have a phone line and online contact form to report any on-site activity concerns that's available on our website. And I think this is the last slide for innovation, so we can go to the next section.
Thanks, Amanda. Hey, everybody. I'm Amy Bacone, Senior Remediation Manager on the environmental team. Next slide, please. So when discussing the environmental sampling and cleanup, it's important to know that there are two responsible parties at our site. Sunoco, also known as Evergreen, is responsible for contamination from releases that occurred prior to September 2012. That date is significant because that's when they sold the site to PES, as some of you will recall. Evergreen recently submitted several site-wide regulatory reports, which are available on their website. If you have questions on Evergreen's submittals, they have a public meeting next Tuesday, March 25th at 6 p.m. So back to us, HRP, when we acquired the site in 2020, we took on the environmental responsibilities of PES. So that's why HRP is responsible for cleaning up releases that occurred after September 2012. We're also responsible for sampling beneath the above ground storage tanks, managing soil during redevelopment, and assessing vapor intrusion in new buildings, which I will cover in my slides. Next slide, please. So as you can see on the slide, HRP has 10 distinct release areas that have been entered into the Act 2 program, which is the cleanup program under the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, or PETA. HRP does not have one site-wide case. Again, we're just responsible for these 10 discrete release areas. Reports and regulatory correspondence for these 10 cases are available on our website under Community, Environmental, and Remediation. Next slide, please. So of those 10 Act 2 cases that I was just showing on the previous slide, 4 of them have achieved regulatory closure, which you can see on this slide, with the most recent case just achieving closure in January. So no further action is warranted for these 4 release areas. Next slide, please. So that leaves us with 6 cases that are still open. So you'll see under next steps on the right-hand side there, we're working on regulatory reports for 3 of these areas, and we're reviewing data and evaluating the remedial approach in 2 of the areas. And so then that leaves us with our 6th area, the UDEX release area. That's our only Act 2 release area that is currently undergoing active remediation by HRP. That release is related to an underground pipe that leaked in 2018. We're currently using soil vapor extraction, or SVE, and air sparging to remediate this area. And if you go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So you'll see on the picture on the left is a very simplified representation of SVE. So essentially there's oil that's underground and it contains volatile organic compounds, which basically means that they can evaporate into the air. You can think of SVE as kind of like a vacuum cleaner sucking up those vapors through the well you see there on the picture. And we're also doing air sparging or injection of air into the subsurface. So that's not shown on this slide, but you can think of that essentially as like if you put a straw in a glass of water and you blow into the straw and you make bubbles, we inject air into the ground and those bubbles then free up more of that volatile mass and makes the remediation more efficient. So that's what's going on with our Act 2 cases. And then on the same slide, we also touch on vapor intrusion, just I mentioned that's another one of HRP's responsibilities. So if you're not familiar, vapor intrusion is when those organic vapors can make their way through the soil gas and into buildings, which we don't want to happen. So one option is for a building to be constructed with a vapor barrier to prevent the vapors from entering the building, which is what's shown on the right in this picture. And another option shown in the middle of this picture is a vapor intrusion mitigation system. So that's essentially when you create a preferential pathway under the building and then funnel those vapors out of the building passively, or you can put a fan at the top and actually draw the vapors out, which would be then an active system. So we are continuing to collect data and assess the types of systems that we will need at our site. Next slide, please. So moving on to above ground storage tanks or ASTs, there were over 100 tanks that we needed to sample under and around after demolition. So we divided them into 9 tank groups, as you can see in this figure, for sampling and reporting purposes. So far, we've achieved regulatory closure for tank group 5 and most recently tank group 2, which we just achieved closure for last month. Our reports for tank groups 8 and 9 are currently with PADEP for review. And we've completed sampling in all the other tank groups and are currently working through data analysis and reporting. And our reports and regulatory correspondence are available on our website under community, environmental, and then tank closure. Next slide, please. So for soil movement, we have a soil management plan, which was approved by PADEP in 2020 and is available on our website under community, environmental, and then soil management. The document outlines our plan to collect 1 sample per 2,000 cubic yards of soil, categorize that given cell based on analytical data, and then handle that soil appropriately during earthwork. So for example, most contaminated soil should be placed where it will be under a building pad or a parking lot. The majority of this soil sampling is done, and the data are summarized in soil management plan addenda, which are on our website. Additionally, we have an environmental consulting company who is out here every day overseeing the earthwork to make sure that the cells are placed in accordance with our soil management plan. Next slide, please. And then finally, I'm just going to elaborate a little more on the air monitoring that Amanda mentioned. So we currently monitor particulate matter, also known as dust, and we also monitor for total volatile organic compounds. We monitor continuously and receive alerts when concentrations are elevated so we can take action in real time. We started this monitoring when earthwork began in each portion of the site. So that was May 2023 in the industrial campus, which you see as the blue dots, and then in April 2024 in the innovation campus, or the green dots. Our air monitoring plan and our monthly reports summarizing this data are available on our website under community, environmental, air monitoring. And I also want to point out, you see that red dot, we collect 1 weekly benzene sample as part of the Thrive Air Community Air Monitoring Project. We started that sampling in February 2024, just over a year ago, and we send the weekly analytical reports to our contacts at Thrive Air, and they maintain the website displaying the data from that red dot, as well as other locations in the community. So if you're interested, I encourage you to check out that data on thriveairphilly.com. And with that, I turn it back to Leah.
Thank you, Amy. And just as a reminder for our attendees, if you have a question, you can feel free to enter it into the Q&A function. So I'll end our presentation by sharing some highlights on our workforce development efforts. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, the Bellwether District is projected to create thousands of both permanent and construction jobs as we're developing the site. As a point of reference, when the site was an operating refinery, it employed roughly 1,000 people. So this is a huge amount of growth. Our goal is for these opportunities to benefit local Philadelphians, particularly residents that neighbor our project in South and Southwest Philly. And so we are currently investing in and will continue to invest in workforce development initiatives that will help train and prepare local Philadelphians to, again, benefit from the jobs that we're creating both now and in the future. So because the nearest term jobs that we're adding are in the construction space, many of our current workforce development initiatives and partnerships are with organizations that are, working to build pipeline of local talent in the construction space. And so here are just a few of those partners. We're a founding supporter of Everybody Builds. Everybody Builds is a collaboration between several developers in the city of Philadelphia, along with industry and trade partners who are collectively committed to building capacity with M and WBE firms and growing a more diverse pipeline of workers in the construction industry. Build Latino is a program out of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that is working to build capacity with smaller Hispanic and Latino-owned construction firms. We have several partnerships with union-based pre-apprenticeship programs, including CARP, the Carpenters Program, the Finishing Trades Program, which focuses on getting more women into the trades, and IBEW's Rosie's Girls Program, which is out of the electrical union at IBEW. We support these programs financially, and we also offer a number of in-person experiences on our site for pre-apprentice participants. We also have a great reentry partnership with the Center for Employment Opportunities in Philadelphia Works, which provides justice-impacted individuals with transitional employment opportunities on our site. And so that has been a really great partnership. And then I will just mention that this year in particular, in addition to the programs I just mentioned and others, we're focused on engaging on the sort of non-construction workforce development partnerships to ensure we're also preparing local residents for those permanent positions that are going to be created by our future tenants. So we look forward to sharing more on that at a future meeting. Next slide. We also have a great deal of work focused on exposing Philadelphia high school students to careers in real estate and construction. Through our Career Connected Learning program, we employ 50 interns annually through the Bellwether District or various partners of ours. And to date, we've facilitated over 120 positions. We're also regularly engaging students at the Bellwether District for site tours and career awareness experiences, and have carried out more than 25 of those programs to date. We have a 10-year commitment to the Community College of Philadelphia to provide scholarship funding to South and South residents attending CCP. And then one just great recent event that I want to highlight from fall of 2025, which was held in partnership with the Philadelphia School District and one of our GC teams, Clayco and Perryman Construction, was the Build My Future event. You'll see in the photographs on the right-hand side of this page. This event engaged 900 plus middle school and high school students from the district in hands-on construction-focused experiences. And again, all of this is with an eye towards increasing their interest in career paths in real estate and construction. Next slide. And so I'll just end by sharing that we're again gearing up for our annual summer internship program for high school students. We're particularly focused on recruiting students that live in South and Southwest Philly. This program is a 6-week paid opportunity for local high schoolers. And again, we've graduated 120 interns from that high school program to date. So please, if your friends or family members are interested in these internship opportunities, we encourage you to reach out to us either by putting contact information in the Q&A function or through the contact form on our website at www.thebellwetherdistrict.com. I'll also mention that in addition to our program for high schoolers, we're getting ready to host our 2nd annual middle school, what we call spring break internship program in just a few weeks. And so we're really excited about that opportunity as well. Next slide. Okay. And so with that, I will open things up for Q&A. We're going to begin the Q&A by answering a few pre-submitted questions. So for our first question, are you aware that the northernmost stormwater basin on the former site is a recognized habitat of a threatened turtle species, the northern red-bellied cooter? With that, I'll hand it over to Blake.
Yeah, thanks, Mia. I can take that one. So in 2022, we the Bellwether District completed a northern red-bellied cooter presence / absence survey. In that, we did not find any of the turtles on the industrial campus. So the PA Fish and Boat deemed our campus clear. On the innovation campus, we did locate a single red-bellied cooter. In that, we worked directly with the PA Fish and Boat to develop a salvage plan. So when we're ready to develop in the specific area of where it's located, we'll coordinate with them and make sure that we're able to preserve in accordance with that approved plan.
Great, thank you. Our next pre-submitted question, do you anticipate any cost concerns due to proposed tariffs or immigration policy? Amelia, I'm going to have you answer that one.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I know I haven't spoken yet in the meeting. My name is Amelia Alcivar. I'm on the HRP Corporate Affairs team with Mia, and I run corporate affairs for our platform, and that includes government relations. So I'll take this one. Obviously, a slow time in my side of the world for anyone who's following the news. So question is about tariff policy and immigration policy, assuming referring to some of the federal policy changes or discussions going on right now. Here's what I can say. Obviously, these are, ongoing, and we're monitoring things very closely, both at the the city, state, and federal level. In general, I can share that there were inflationary pressures that impacted all businesses in the kind of post-COVID era, and that that inflation was especially detrimental to the real estate business. So this is something that we've been living with and working through for a while. And anyone else listening who's in real estate or adjacent, I'm sure is familiar with some of the challenges. So with that in mind, our focus is on long-term policies that promote economic development while being fiscally responsible. What I'll say is we've been really encouraged by some of the recent policy initiatives that both the city and the Commonwealth have pursued. For example, we worked, Governor Shapiro visited our site back at the end of last year to announce a permit streamlining program that, we believe is a responsible way to try to encourage economic development and job creation. And so that's the type of policy that we hope to support. We hope to see some of that same common sense approach at all levels of government. And, the Bellwether District, one of the unique positives of this location is given its proximity to critical infrastructure like Philiport and Philadelphia International Airport, given Philadelphia's strong labor force and our adjacency, to the great talented workers with all levels of educational attainment that we have here in Philadelphia. We believe the Bellwether District is an ideal location for onshoring manufacturing operations and supply chain logistics. So those would be, positive ways that this project could succeed, even in an environment with some of the policy, tariff policies and others that are being discussed. That's what I can share for now. Again, this is definitely something that we'll continue to monitor as we get clarity on what the final decisions or actions are going to be. And so we're certainly happy to have an ongoing dialogue on this topic and to address it in future meetings. Or again, you can always use the contact feature on our website if there's something that you're seeing out there that you're looking to get a sense of how it'll impact our development. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Amelia. Okay, we're going to go to one of our live questions. So Corey, if you could unmute David Steinberg.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. I've got a bunch of questions, although I know you did say only one question per person. So I'm gonna start off with this one here. I noticed that in a lot of these buildings, they're going to have a lot of solar panels, and I like the idea of having solar panels, I've been in the solar business myself before. However, one thing concerns me about that, and that is the airport that's nearby and the planes flying in. There may be certain times of the day where the glare from that can literally blind pilots that are coming in for landings or perhaps even taking off, depending which ramps that they use there. Can someone address that question for me?
Sure. I'm going to go to Blake on this question.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Mia, and thanks, David. Appreciate it. It's a great question. So you're right on some of the renderings for the industrial campus, and really, the Bellwether District site-wide. We are envisioning having significant solar panels throughout. As you can imagine, the benefit of some of these large buildings are the amount of rooftop availability for solar panel. But it's a great question as it relates to the airport. We're still actively coordinating that both with our consultants as well as the airport, and we'll make sure that the design according to that, we'll make sure that it's going to be okay and acceptable for the airport. Obviously, we wouldn't put anything in there that wasn't pre-approved and coordinated. Early on in the process, these buildings are still just being built, and we haven't started any type of installation. We're still in what I would say the pre-planning stages of that, but we can certainly keep you posted there. But great question, and thank you.
David, I would also say that if you have more questions, please feel free to email me directly or enter them via our website, and we'll make sure to include them in the post-meeting Q&A. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. All right, so for our next question, we'll go to one of our written questions. Are there any tenants yet? I'm going to give that one to Amelia.
Okay, I'm getting all the fun questions this evening. Great question, and as Blake alluded to during his portion of the presentation, the two buildings that we currently have on site are speculative buildings, meaning they were built without a tenant. But we shared a similar update at the end of last year, and what we said has in our November meeting for those who joined has only been borne out even further since then. That we've really seen some improving market conditions over the past couple of quarters. And, at the time, I think we said an uptick in tenant interest. I would say now it's kind of a groundswell. One thing I like to remind folks about with a site like this is obviously given its history as a refinery, given the amount of work that it took to get the site to the place where a normal development site would start from, right, just to get to kind of a development ready site. Proof of concept showing that the deconstruction can happen, that buildings can be built here, that the site can be made to be ready for development is a really important part of the sort of tenant marketing and tenant attraction efforts. And now that we have vertical construction on site, which has happened over the past several months, we have seen a continual increase in tenant interest, which again I think we also feel that's coincident with an improving market. I can't name names, but I can say we have literally dozens of tenants, prospective tenants that have either toured the site or expressed interest or issued RFPs or RFIs that we've responded to. Those are at varying stages in the process of just kind of initially exploring versus quite far down the road in discussions. We do 100%, we cannot wait to share this information with our community members and other stakeholders as soon as we're able to announce any tenants that are going to be opening operations or doing a build out in the Bellwether District. So I can just say stay posted. If you follow our social media, follow our website, come to our meetings, you won't, as soon as we can tell you, you'll know. We appreciate the question. We know there's a lot of active interest in this topic, and we are really encouraged and excited by what the incoming activity and discussions with prospective companies looking to build operations and create jobs in the Bellwether District has been over the past I would say 6 months especially.
Great, thank you, Amelia. Okay, we're going to go to a live question. Corey, if you could bring Loretta Ottinger into the meeting.
Loretta, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Well, while we're waiting on that one, I will answer one from the chat. And I will take this one. So when and where are the community engagement meetings held as it relates to the strategic community engagement plan, and are they open to the public? So I'll answer that question by saying, we hold in-person and virtual meetings throughout the year. Most of them are open to the public, although we do have some that I would characterize as closed to members, although the vast majority are open to the public. And so we have quarterly meetings like the one you're participating in this evening. We have an annual in-person community resource fair, which we hold at our site in the fall. And that event is open to members of the general public. We offer site tours and the opportunity to engage with our team in person. We have a community advisory panel, which is made up of 25 South and Southwest Philadelphia-based organizations, which we meet with on a quarterly basis, plus additional meetings throughout the year. And that group is really instrumental in, helping to share information about our project with local residents and, helping us understand where there might be, questions as it relates to the project or opportunities for us to support. We also, throughout the year, do presentations at a variety of community groups meetings. And so I will, share with you all that if you have an organization that you'd like us to present to, please let us know. We're always excited to take on those opportunities. Just as a point of reference, we engaged in 120 meetings and community events last year. So whether that be like having a table at a community event or actually doing a presentation on Bellwether in those small group settings. We also, as part of, a strategic community engagement strategy, several years ago, did a number of focus groups in South and Southwest Philly to gain input on the development. And I would just end by saying, as always, we're available and communicating via our web form, and my information is on this slide in front of you. So if you have any questions or want to offer input, please reach out. Okay. So were we able to get Loretta in? Okay. All right, I will go to, I'm sorry, Loretta put her question in the
two
chat.
things. I did answer David Steinberg's question. Solar panels absorb light, not reflect it, but there's a glare study done by the FAA before any solar would go near an airport. It has to be within a 5-mile radius, any solar. Even if you put it on your home and you're within 5 miles of the airport, you have to do an FAA glare study. Just so you know, Newark Airport has solar that covers like 364,000 square feet. So airports are great for solar and not that you're putting an airport there, but it's not a issue to answer David's question. But my next question is, you can probably tell I have a solar background. I love that you have all the buildings with solar on top of them. Are you designing the buildings to allow for the weight of the solar, which is about 4 pounds per square foot in the design of these roofs?
Thank you, Loretta, for answering David's question. And I'll also turn it over to Blake to answer your follow-up.
Yeah, and thank you, Loretta. We appreciate it. Yes, we are designing, and each building today, we accounted for 5 pounds per square foot on the roof structure to ensure that it would account for it. And that's for the entire limits of the roof, not just like in a certain portion or in the middle of the building, just to ensure that we're future-proofing these buildings for those installations. But great question, and we appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Great. I see we have another question from David. We're happy to take this one. With the pollution in the aquifer, what guarantees that that pollution will not migrate into New Jersey, where water companies, towns, and farmers draw water from? I'm going to turn that one over to Amy.
Thanks, Mia. And hi, David. Thank you for the question. So Evergreen is responsible for the deep aquifer. Specifically, it's their area of interest AOI 11. So I would have to refer to them for that question. And if you're not aware, I mentioned that they've recently submitted some reports that includes a fate and transport remedial investigation report. So I would recommend you check their reports, which are on their website, which is phillyrefinerycleanup.info. And then attend their public meeting next week, and you could ask them that question.
Great. Thank you, Amy. All right. So with no questions in the chat, we'll wait one more minute. Okay. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us this evening. As I mentioned, if you have additional questions following tonight's conversation, please feel free to reach out to us either at my email, which is on the screen, or on our website via the contact form at thebellwetherdistrict.com. And our recording of tonight's conversation and our slide presentation, as well as Q&A responses, will be uploaded to the website over the next couple of weeks. Thank you again for joining us tonight, and we will see you at our Q2 meeting. Thank you.